Hello everybody, and welcome to Manchester Explorer. I'm currently on Amory Street as I decided to share my fat tire bike ride with you, as I have to take a trip to the post office on Elm Street, and then I think I'm going to head up to Derryfield Park, up to the Weston Tower Observatory, as well as the McIntyre Ski Area, as I want to enjoy some of the snow, as it's a nice day today. As I purchased a fat bike a little over a month ago, as they were on sale, as I couldn't resist the deal that I got, as it was about $600 off. It's a nice Trek, but it's the entry-level one. The frame and the frame's aluminum. The fork is carbon fiber, which is the nice part of the bike, as it's a lower end model that comes with very cheap components, but the bike does the job, that's for sure. And I didn't want a higher end bike with nice parts on it, as I often ride in the city and I don't want all my nice parts getting covered in salt. So right now we're going to slowly head towards Elm Street, as I have to go to the post office to drop off a package. As I also run a small eBay store. And if you follow my channel, I posted a video of this little corner in front of us, this little intersection, as that used to be an insurance business or a credit union at one point. Right here was obviously Goslin's Hardware. But I want to head towards Putnam Street real quick, as there's a small business there that just recently got boarded up, that I just happened to make a video about, you know, quite a few months back, and I'm glad that I got some footage of it, as it's likely going to be drastically changing. Sorry for the tire noise. These things are very loud. A lot of people think I'm riding an e-bike because they hear the buzzing noise. But this bike has no battery. There we go. These tires are specifically designed for snow, so they roll better on snow than they do pavement, that's for sure. We'll take a right here on Dubuque Street. And a left on Putnam, as the Chinois Laundrette has been boarded up, so it's now closed. But if you follow my channel, I did make a quick video about this area, as there was a lot of little stores around here, but I did walk into this laundrette, as it was a virtual time capsule, probably from the 1950s or 60s, as a lot of the original laundry equipment is still within it. but I just thought I'd share that with you all. I'll leave a link to the video that I was just talking about in the description as well if you want to check it out. It's a neat little laundromat. It's really a time capsule. And this is why I film those things, because as you can see, within a minute, it can all change, as we don't know what's going to be happening with that laundrette. Thank you. I love these tires. They just roll over everything. It's like you're riding on donuts. It does take a little effort to pedal a bike like this, though. That's for sure. There's a lot of contact with the ground, obviously. There's always an ice patch here. Gotta be careful. I have carbide studded tires, basically steel studded, but I still get a little antsy when I roll over sheer ice. Yeah, I have a small eBay store, and if I sell something that, if the package can fit in my backpack, I usually take my bike to the post office. And I do have some history videos coming up. One of which is really interesting, as I don't think many people are aware of it, which I'll likely film sometime next week. I've been taking a break from YouTube for a little bit because I ended up getting shingles on my left leg, around my thigh, my groin, went up my butt onto my hip, and the pain was excruciating to the point to where I couldn't walk. It felt like I had torn muscles in my hip and groin. There's still pain, but it's nothing like it was a little over a week ago, as I actually had to call in for work for 3 days, which is something that I'd never do. As I'm sure some of my workmates might be watching this, and if you are, thanks for staying late or coming in early to cover my shift. Without getting into any details, my employment goes from, you know, there's 5 guys working first shift, Then I work second shift, and it goes to one guy, which is me. So if I call in, somebody really has to cover my shift. My job's fairly easy, but it's very important as somebody has to be on site at all times. Without getting into any nitty-gritty details about what I do for a living, but thanks for covering my shift, guys. Yeah, shingles is no joke. I always thought it was just a rash, and it would just burn an edge, kind of like poison ivy. But it really attacks your nerve endings, and it's extremely painful. And this is Elm Street, obviously. It's nice living in the city because, you know, everything's convenient. I spent most of my life living in the country, but I really don't mind living in the city. Due to living in New Hampshire, I can take a 5 or 10 minute drive and I'm into the woods. What is it, 10 o'clock? I do have to work today, but I don't leave my house till around 3:30. So I have plenty of time to enjoy my day. This is why I enjoy working second shift, as it gives me all day to enjoy the day, versus getting home around 5 o'clock, and then you don't feel like doing anything and you spend the rest of your evening sitting on a couch. So second shift for my lifestyle it's awesome. I love it. As I'm not a night person, like if I come home at work at 5 and sit down and eat, I kind of lose my mind, as I'm not the type of person that can watch TV. I kind of go crazy. I'm kind of hyperactive, I'm fidgety. Alright, so now we're gonna head up to Derryfield Park. I probably won't film the entire ride getting up there, as it's kind of a slog to get up there, as it's all uphill. Especially on this bike. But we'll see how it goes. I think I'll take probably Lowell Street. And I always film my rides. I don't always post them, obviously, or otherwise I'd have 100 biking videos. No, I don't live there. But I always film because you never know what you're going to catch on camera. And I just ordered a new camera. I got the DJI, what is it, the Action 6 or whatever it's called. But it actually videos at night. It takes real quality video, even in low light conditions. So I'm gonna start doing some night videos, as this GoPro is 100% useless in low light conditions. It does not record anything. It's just a big blur. So if you're in the market for a action camera, do not buy a GoPro. Just don't do it. I know when people think of an action camera, the first thing they think of is GoPro because it's embedded into our brains, but the DJI cameras are way better. As we have a storm coming, I think it's Sunday into Monday. So when I get out of work at midnight, I'm likely going to take my bike out and bum around the city for a little bit. While the storm's going on. That's a pretty house. The snow's still relatively soft, so you can just kind of plow through it. The only thing about plowing through snow in a city is you never know what's beneath the snow. One of the worst things to roll over, believe it or not, is a glass bottle. I actually went to Tower Hill Reservoir yesterday and did a couple laps around the pond. It was perfect conditions as I was making a video. You know, and I stopped to take a 15-minute break to take in the scenery. And when I restarted my camera, I didn't realize that it was in hyperlapse mode. So the first half of the video was good, but the second half was just, you know, super speed, fast motion. So that video was a failure. But I'll probably make it out there either Wednesday or Thursday, as we're gonna have a lot of fresh snow out there. And I'll make another video. Well, I'm gonna edit this out and I'll see you guys on top of the hill. And now we're on top of Derryfield Park, right in front of Weston Tower. As the bike ride up here wasn't that bad. I slogged it up Lowell Street, but as soon as I got to Derryfield Park, you know, directly in front of me right here, there's a steep hill full of snow that I had to walk my bike up, as it's physically impossible to ride a bike up it. But right here is Weston Tower, which I have made a video about previously. It was one of my earlier videos. I screwed up on a couple details about it, but basically it was built during the 1800s, and it served as an observation tower for all the residents of Manchester to enjoy. But as you can see now, it's gated off, as due to modern times, this place would be vandalized. All the windows would be shattered, it'd be covered in graffiti, and the inside of it would be littered with heroin needles, to put it simply. But it was originally used as an observation tower, and it was also used by I believe the Air Force around the World War II era. As directly in front of me, I don't know if you can see those mountains, but the third hill on the right is Joe English Hill, located in New Boston. There's now an Air Force base there, but the observation tower was once used to direct bombers to that Joe English Hill area, as they used to practice doing carpet bombing in that general area. I'm probably off by a little bit of the details, as I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me, which is fine. I don't take any offense to anything. And there's also two old cannons here, obviously. If you find my original video of this area, I kind of shared some pictures, as this area has changed a little bit over the years. You used to be able to drive up here, but it's all gated off now due to, like I was saying earlier, people that don't know how to act, as this area, I can imagine, was quite littered during the 70s and 1980s, as it was likely a party spot. But I do recall this tower before they restored it, as it was trashed. The windows were broken and whatnot. But right now we're going to head over to probably the McIntyre Ski Area. Because right now I have to go over some fresh snow, which is always fun. I'm not sure what this is, where this is grooved right here, or groomed. They may have groomed it for joggers, I'm not sure though, or skiers. And here I am fat biking over it, ruining it. But to be honest, I'd wager, what do you guys think, 60 or 70% of Manchester residents don't even know this is up here. They have no clue that Weston Tower even exists. Those are just water holding tanks, just water reservoir. There's a couple of them. I took some air pressure out of my rear tire. I think I took too much out. As with these fat bikes, you want low pressure. When you're riding over snow, it gives you a bigger footprint, so you stay on top of the snow instead of digging through it. But I'll be all right. Yeah, they must groom this for dog walkers and joggers, or anyone else that just wants to enjoy this area. But there's some nice trails up here. There's a nice little trail system. Beautiful day though. It's probably about, I don't know, 28 degrees or so. It's slightly below freezing, which is ideal weather for this activity. The thing with the winter is You know, we all complain about it being cold and whatnot, but if you find an activity, an outdoor activity, and actually embrace it, you'll find that winter is actually kind of fun. We all know if you're doing something physical, your heart starts pumping and you warm up really quick. But while we're here, I'll show you guys the this was once a granite quarry. I'm not going to go down there as it's kind of dangerous, but it's really grown in now, as it was filled in during the 1980s, as people kept getting hurt here from jumping off into the water. But this was a quarry that was around during the 1800s, and they hit a spring and it filled with water, as it became a very popular, you know, swimming hole for quite some time. As I said, I believed it was filled during the 1980s, as there was a few people that died here. And to be honest, it's a good thing that it was filled in, as with nowadays with social media, this place would be heavily advertised, and on, you know, a nice summer day there'd probably be 50 to 100 people here, you know what I mean, as this area would be just completely trashed. As we know nowadays, people like to, you know, bring in coolers full of food and drinks, but they don't like bringing their garbage home with them. They just leave it. So this place would be completely trashed, and there'd probably be a lot of people getting hurt. So in my opinion, it's a good thing that that was filled in. Although I'm sure all you old timers, you had a blast jumping off it, as I would have been there as well. But we live in a different world these days. People also lack a lot of common sense. Kids are just bred differently nowadays. Common sense is just lacking. All right, back on the trail. Yeah, the video I did of that's fairly extensive. I walked the perimeter and I walked on the bottom of it. It's one of my earlier videos, but it got the point across. I think I was still walking around with my my cell phone to be used as a camera back then. Thing with fat biking, man, it's really slow moving. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. And to my left is the McIntyre Ski Area. There's some people out here. So for all you who are unaware that this is here, Manchester does have a ski lift. Get a nice shot of it right here. Nice view up here too, as well. We get the VA directly in front of me, that building, that big building with the water tower. I actually made a video on that as well. There's an old tower there as well. The Smith Tower, you can barely see it to the right of that big water tower. There's a tan building. It's kind of behind the trees, but there's an old tower there. Or I believe, is it Governor Smith or Mayor Smith used to go there to get away from people during the 1800s. And I will be making a video of the Smith estate, which was located off of Elm Street. I keep forgetting about it, but that'll be an interesting video once I get to it, as there's a lot of pictures and information about that beautiful building that used to stand there. Yeah, I gotta get to that one. That's actually a fairly easy video to make. There's not a lot of walking, just a lot of talking. Yeah, I love winter. You know, sometimes I hate it, but when I'm out and about doing this, I absolutely love it. Fat biking's fun. I mean, you gotta be in decent shape to do it, but if you can pedal, it's fun. Or just get a e-bike with pedal assist, who cares? Especially when you're like in the woods, like I went to Tower Hill Pond the other day. It's just beautiful, just tranquil. I make it look easy, but it's not. Now we'll head down and through the city again, as I do have to head home. Ain't making it through that. Once you get to like 4 or definitely 5 inches of snow, you're not moving that well, unless you're going downhill. Ba-boom. This thing just rolls over everything. I love it. I can't wait to take this out in the trails during the summer. I'll have to get a different set of tires for it, obviously, but it's gonna be fun, that's for sure. Yeah, this is the hill that I had to walk up. I was not biking up this. It's just physically impossible. You can't get traction. Gravity wins. It's fun going down it though. I could do this all day if we had a lift to get back up here. These big tires, they almost act like suspension. Like you lower the air pressure, and they just absorb all the bumps. It's like riding on pillows. It's like riding in the clouds. It's a great feeling. It really is. They say riding a bike's it's the closest thing you'll get to flying without being in the air, obviously. But I gotta pause this video for a moment as I have to put some air pressure in my rear tire. Alright, back to it. Yeah, this bike's been great so far. Like I said, it was on sale, and it was the lower end model, as it comes with very cheap components. As the only thing I've done to it is I replaced it came with really cheap plastic pedals that didn't spin as the bearings suck, so I had these blue pedals kicking around, which are much better. And I replaced the handlebar with this titanium handlebar that I had kicking around. As the handlebar that this thing came with was basically a stovepipe. It probably weighed a pound. I almost bought the better version of this bike, as it came with a suspension fork, you know, slightly better components, but the bike itself was yellow, and I really don't want a yellow bike. As the color of this bike sold me. I love the blue that fades into the black. It looks like it belongs in the snow. And speaking of snow, let's get back to it. Yeah, we'll go this way. Yeah, it's got a really cheap drivetrain. It's just an Advent, that's what they call it, for those of you who are unfamiliar with bikes. But it does the job, but it really needs another gear, like the first gear. It's got a 48 tooth. It needs a 50 and a 52 tooth, just so it climbs a little easier. Although it's working, so I can't really complain. It gets to the point to where, you know, if you buy a bike, you end up upgrading every part. It makes it pointless to have bought it in the first place. You may as well just bought the better version to begin with. So I'm not doing much to this bike. It is what it is. It gets the job done. And up here to my left is the remnants of the old city pound. You know, during the 1800s and early 1900s, if the city would find, you know, horses running around, cattle, animals in general, they'd all end up here, as there used to be a corral, and the only thing left is the door, which is right here. I believe I've filmed this already, but I'll give it another shot. Try to get out of the sun. Yeah, 1916 is when it was built. It just seems like it would have been older than that, but I guess not. So, you know, prior to the automobile, there would have been animals everywhere running around Manchester. People still had, you know, livestock in their yards back then. You often hear people complaining about, why are the roads so narrow in Manchester? Why is there no parking at all these buildings? And like, people don't, you know, they don't follow history. As originally, you know, the city was built prior to the automobile, so all the roads are narrow as they were made for horse, buggy, and believe it or not, the bicycle. As the bicycle has been around since, I think, 1820. And that's also the reason why most of these old buildings don't have any driveways, or the driveways are really small, as they weren't designed to accommodate the automobile. The automobile really destroyed everything. It destroyed the beauty of all these old cities. Prior to the automobile, you know, there was no pavement. There wasn't cars parked everywhere. There wasn't street signs everywhere. You know, there weren't giant parking lots everywhere. There weren't gas stations everywhere. There weren't big box stores everywhere. So the automobile really destroyed the beauty of everything. It really did. No traffic noise. I mentioned that in that video I made about Elm Street, which for whatever reason hasn't gotten many views, as I put a lot of work in that one about all the old mansions that are missing on Elm Street. The main reason why those mansions are gone is because of the automobile and the traffic noise. As who would want to live in a, you know, $2 million mansion and have to listen to traffic noise all day? As by the 1960s, you know, Bedford started to get built up and whatnot. There used to be there started to get road access to get out there, and all the people that could afford nice homes started to build out there, and they left all those beautiful mansions behind. And the proof is in the pudding, because the remaining mansions on that strip on Elm Street are now all commercial buildings. Nobody lives in them. I overthink things. I'm kind of a, how can I explain it? I overanalyze everything. I think too much. But yeah, the automobile is a downfall for a lot of the old historic areas within our old cities throughout this country. It's not just Manchester. There's a pretty Victorian right there. You know what I mean? If you could afford a $1 million plus home, you probably wouldn't want to reside on a street corner that has tons of traffic noise. And a lot of these old homes in this area, they don't really have any yards. And as I was saying, there's not much parking as well. I'll try to get a shot of this Victorian. I've already filmed it a few times. But you find in the winter when all the leaves fall, you get a better view of these old buildings. As that tree right there in front of me is usually full bloom and you can barely see the house. But that's one of the prettiest homes within Manchester. Some may say it is the prettiest. And it costs a lot to maintain a home like that. A lot of money. If you want to keep it looking pretty anyway. So which way are we going? I think I'm going to take a left. That's a beautiful old school as well. It's nice that they restored it and saved it. Another one of the most beautiful buildings within the city. We'll go down Bridge Street and then I'll cut over. I think I'll go down Union Street. Manchester Appliance to my right, that's been open for a while. And didn't this little breakfast joint shut down a little while ago? I forget what it used to be called. I'm having a brain fart, but it's open again. See, I gotta go over this way. Green light. And I'm going to cross over as I'm on the wrong side of the road. Not that it really matters. But there's also more snow on this side. At least parts of it. Or ice. That park directly in front of me was once filled with water, as it was a reservoir that the fire department used to use. I'll try to dig up some photos of it. But that used to be filled with water. I imagine at this time of the year they probably used it as a skating pond as well. You know, as back then there was no TV or internet or video games, as people used to entertain themselves by actually going outside and doing things. Like, I know we're gonna get Karens in the comments section saying that I should be riding in the road. But I don't trust drivers these days. You just can't. There's too many people on their phones. People on drugs, high and drunk. I don't feel like getting wiped out on a bike. I'm all set. was going to go down that beautiful alley, but there's a car there. We'll take the next one. Oh, we'll just go down Central Street. We'll check out some of the new construction that's going on directly in front of me. At first I was against all these new buildings being built, but I kind of like them now. They've grown on me. It's a city, you know, I like history, but cities are always evolving. It's always been that way. I just wish that the city would just designate a few areas as a historic district that never changes. But unfortunately, I think it's too late for that now, as the history is too scattered now. As in, there'll be a random historic building surrounded by, you know, 3 modern buildings. It's just too late now. So now we just have to enjoy what history we have left. Like, I think this looks nice with that that Residence Inn building, that modern, I think that's an apartment building. I like the colors, it looks good. It would have been nicer if they actually used brick instead of painting everything orange, but you can't have it all. But it's got a nice clean look to it. As this entire area that we're riding through right now is getting revamped. I'm pretty sure this building is getting destroyed as well. The old police station. So this entire area is going to be getting cleaned up, which it really needs. Some modern apartment buildings. They're looking good. Those aren't ugly buildings. They're not too bad for modern buildings. I mean, we don't build them like we used to, but for modern architecture, they don't look that bad. How do I get over? I'm gonna have to take a left. There's really nowhere to go on my bike here. So I'll spin around. We'll just go up here and take a left. Oh, I'm actually gonna have to step off. A little chunky. You know, we got the food pantry or homeless shelter to my right. I don't like getting into politics, but in my opinion, that shelter, they need to build a new one and move it somewhere else, as it's in like one of the, this should be one of the nicer areas of the city. Like, you go down here and you take a left on Hanover Street, which is one of the nicest streets in the city. You know, if people come here like tourists, they'll come down here and take a right, and it's instantly like dirty, you know what I mean? But the homeless people need a place to go too, so, you know, they just need a modern homeless shelter. They need to get rid of that old building and just do something modern. And don't move it, you know, like a block away from downtown Elm Street. I mean, move it so it's not from a block away from downtown Elm Street. I mean, for me personally, it doesn't really bother me, but I'm just thinking of like tourists that come here. It's like they expect to see a beautiful historic city, and they walk around and take a right behind me, and they're in like a ghetto pretty much. But I think the city's got plans to clean that entire area up. Within the next 10 years, we won't even recognize what's there right now. I'll definitely be rolling through here Sunday night during that snowstorm on my bike, as soon as I get that new camera that films at night. So it should be quite scenic. This video is going on for a little longer than I intended to, but whatever. It's only a YouTube video. And if you decide to watch it, thanks for watching. Yeah, the wind's starting to pick up as well. It's supposed to get really cold. Like for real cold. Once it drops below like 20 degrees, I don't really do this on a bike because your face gets cold. I don't like wearing a face mask. You can't breathe. Oh, which way do I want to go? I think I'm going to head west. I mean northwest. West would be directly over the river. Go ahead, dude. Oh, people. But anyways, I'm going to conclude this video. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.